How consumption taxes impact consumer and producer welfare. Assuming that original supply is S and demand is D, the equilibrium price obtained at this time is P sub 0 and the equilibrium output is Q sub 0. In a perfectly competitive market, the government directly taxes a producer. That is, the producer is the taxpayer during the taxation process. S moves to the upper left and becomes N's. At this time, the consumer needs to spend P sub 1 money to buy the product, while the producer actually gets the price is P sub 2 and the output is Q sub 1. In a perfectly competitive market, before the government levies taxes, the consumer's price is AP sub 0 sin. The producer's price is BP sub 0 sin, and the total economic welfare is ABC. After government levies taxes, the consumer's price is AP sub 1D. The producer's price is BP sub 2E. The tax amount is P sub 1DE P sub 2, and the total economic welfare is ADEB. It can be seen that DWL caused by government taxation is DEC. The impact of tariffs on countries. The impact of tariffs on countries needs to be considered in small and large countries. Before the tariff, the supply is S, demand is D, and the commodity price is P sub W. After tariff, the price rises to P sub T equals P sub W plus D. With the tax burden falling on consumers, this price increase reduces consumer welfare, especially if the demand for commodity is elastic. Higher prices cause the consumer to buy less, decreasing consumption by Q sub 2 to Q sub 4 and reducing welfare by A plus B plus C plus D. On the other hand, domestic producers benefit from the tariff. They increase production by Q sub 3 to Q sub 1, raising their welfare by A. The government also gains tax revenue amounting to C. However, the overall net welfare effect, or then wage loss DWL, is minus B plus D, representing the inefficiency caused by the tariffs. The distortion reduces both producer and consumer efficiency, making resource allocation less optimal. In short, the tariff protects domestic producer but harms consumers and reduces the overall efficiency of trade and resource allocation. In large countries, tariffs cause a drop in the world market price P sub W to P sub W prime, while the domestic price rises to P sub T equals P sub W plus T, still lower than that of small countries but higher than D, though less than in small countries, and producer welfare increases by A, but by a smaller margin. Imports decrease by Q sub 1, Q sub 3 plus Q sub 2, Q sub 4, with a smaller reduction than in small countries. Government revenue is C plus E, where E reflects the gains from improved terms of trade. That wage loss DWL is the sum of producer loss B and consumer loss D. Net welfare equals E minus B plus D. Both tariffs and consumption taxes reduce consumer welfare and increase government tax revenue. However, tariffs tend to have a stronger impact on producer welfare by directly protecting domestic industries from foreign competition, whereas consumption tax primarily affect consumers' purchasing power and behavior. How generative AI could affect inequality in the labor market. For scenario 1, initially, this demand curve is relatively low, indicating lower wages for low-skilled workers. However, with the introduction of generative AI that augments low-skilled workers' productivity, the demand for low-skilled labor increases, shifting the DL curve to the right. The demand for high-skilled labor remains high as AI complements their abilities. The supply curve of low-skilled labor remains the same. In this scenario, the equilibrium wage for low-skilled workers rise from E sub L to E sub H, which reduces inequality between low-skilled and high-skilled workers. For scenario 2, the demand for low-skilled labor shifts to the left due to automation, which replaces many routine manual jobs. This leads to a reduction in wage and employment for low-skilled workers. The supply curve for low-skilled labor remains unchanged, but since demand has decreased, this leads to falling wages for low-skilled workers. The equilibrium wage for low-skilled workers decreases from E sub L to E sub H, which increases inequality between low-skilled and high-skilled workers. Impact of generative artificial intelligence on productivity and output. When generative artificial intelligence can improve productivity, the supply of productivity increases. In the short term, SRAS sum 1 will move to SRAS sum 2, and in the long term, LRAS sum 1 will move to LRAS sum 2. Both will bring about a decrease in prices, but both will increase productivity and increase output. But generative AI has little impact on productivity, it remains as it is. Behavioral economics. Why people choose unhealthy food options. Behavioral economics highlights that people are more sensitive to short-term satisfaction, often neglecting long-term health benefits. A concept known as instant gratification refers. For example, people may choose high sugar or high fat food for immediate pleasure, even though they know healthier options are better for long-term health. Psychological factors like the security effect also influence decisions where limiting time offers can lead to people make unhealthy choices. Additionally, habits and intertier play a role, making it difficult for individuals to change unhealthy eating patterns, even when they recognize the need for improvement. Decision making in food choice is further complicated by factors like taste, price, and convenience. Thank you for your listening.